Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lee Jae-hoon, CEO of Sea-Link Logistics, to accept the Maritime Innovation Award. The ballroom erupts in applause. Crystal chandeliers cast geometric shadows across 500 faces in the Grand Hyatt Seoul. Jae-hoon rises from the head table, his charcoal suit impeccable, silver threading through his temples catching the light. He adjusts his minimalist glasses and approaches the podium with the controlled grace of a man who has addressed shareholders in 6 languages. Carmen Whitaker stands 3 tables back, amber vial clutched in her palm. Her heart pounds against her ribs, a rhythm she hasn't felt in 3 decades. She flew 18 hours from Brooklyn for this installation contract. Maya warned her. Thomas said it was professional suicide. Her daughter called it closure. Nobody called it what it actually is. The moment when the past stops being memory and becomes present tense. Jae-hoon's speech begins with logistics, tonnage, routes, sustainability partnerships, standard corporate poetry. But then his tone shifts, softens at the edges. The sea teaches patience, he says, and his gaze sweeps the room. Certain cargo must travel specific routes. Some shipments cannot be rushed. And there are containers that remain sealed, not because they are empty, but because opening them requires the right conditions, the right moment. His eyes find hers. The vial slips slightly in Carmen's grip. She steadies it with both hands. Jae-hoon's pause stretches a beat too long. The audience shifts. C.O. Moran, his executive secretary, tenses at the side of the stage, her iPad frozen mid-note. 30 years ago, Jae-hoon continues, I learned that some journeys are not measured in nautical miles, but in the courage to return to a port you once abandoned. The applause is polite but confused. Carmen's breath catches. The bergamot and cedar notes from the vial seem to intensify, or perhaps she's imagining it, the way scent memory can hijack reality. As Jae-hoon descends the stage, a photographer's flash captures his profile. By morning, that image will be paired with speculation. By afternoon, someone will identify the black woman in the beige silk dress who left before dessert. But right now, in this crystalline second, Carmen makes a decision. She sets the vial carefully on the white tablecloth and walks toward the exit. Not running, not hiding, simply choosing when to open what has been sealed. Behind her, Jae-hoon's hand tightens around the award plaque. The thin scar above his right eyebrow, barely visible under the stage lights, throbs the way it always does when his body remembers what his mind tries to forget. The Seoul night air hits Carmen's skin as she pushes through the hotel doors. Rain begins to fall. She left her coat inside. The city blurs into streaks of neon and headlights. A voice behind her, steady and unmistakable. You forgot this. She turns. Jae-hoon stands in the rain, the amber vial balanced on his palm like an offering. Water darkens his shoulders. His glasses fog slightly. Or maybe, he adds, you left it on purpose. Carmen's mouth opens, closes. 30 years collapse into the space between them. What happens, she finally says, when the formula you couldn't replicate walks back into your life? Jae-hoon takes one step closer. You test whether it still works. Boy, if you've ever wondered whether love can survive 3 decades of silence, subscribe to hear what happens when 2 people brave enough to open what they sealed. Discover that some scents, like some truths, only grow stronger with time. 5 nights before Seoul, Carmen's Brooklyn studio smelled like failure. She had tested 43 variations of the Maison's anniversary fragrance. Bergamot clashed with vetiver. Jasmine turned soapy. The black tea note flattened into nothing. The studio occupied the 3rd floor of a converted textile factory in Sunset Park. High ceilings, exposed brick, windows overlooking the harbor where container ships moved like patient giants. Carmen had chosen this space deliberately 15 years ago. Close enough to the water to smell salt when the wind shifted. Far enough from Manhattan's chaos to think clearly. At 3:47 a.m., insomnia drove her back to the workbench. She wasn't aiming for anything specific, just reaching for bottles in the dark, pipette work guided by 30 years of muscle memory. Sicilian bergamot, first distillation. Darjeeling tea absolute. Rain accord, the synthetic kind that smells like wet pavement in August. Base of white cedar with a ghost of smoke. Her hands moved without conscious thought, measurements appearing as if dictated by something outside her control. 3 drops of this, 7 of that. The ratios felt inevitable, like remembering a phone number you thought you'd forgotten. She closed her eyes and inhaled. The world stopped rotating. It was Terminal 4. The exact formula they had created in the Columbia Organic Chemistry Lab in 1995, when she was 22 and he was 24, and love felt like an equation you could solve if you were smart enough. They had named it after the JFK terminal where he boarded Korean Air Flight 086, promising to return after settling things with his family in Seoul. He never returned. She tried for years to recreate the formula, failed every time. Her thesis advisor suggested it was psychological, that her inability to replicate the scent was trauma manifest as chemical block. Carmen had dismissed this as academic nonsense. Now, 30 years later, her body had remembered what her mind had refused. Carmen sat on the cold studio floor, vial trembling in her grip. Outside, Brooklyn slept. Sirens in the distance, the rumble of late-night trucks on the BQE, the particular silence of a city that never truly rests. Inside, the past breathed. She stayed there until dawn, watching light creep across the floorboards, the vial between her palms like a confession she wasn't ready to speak aloud. 3 days later, the envelope arrived. Cream cardstock, embossed C-Link Foundation logo. An invitation to design an olfactory installation for the International Maritime Gala. Sense of the Port, a sensory journey. Honoree. Lee Ji-hoon, CEO, C-Link Logistics. She read his name 11 times. Each time, her chest tightened. Maya found her that evening staring at the invitation, the Terminal 4 vial beside it on the desk. "Tell me you're not considering this," Maya said, dropping her messenger bag and crossing her arms, the posture she adopted when preparing to talk sense into someone determined to be senseless. "It's a major contract. International exposure. Exactly what we need for the expansion. It's him, Carmen. The man who disappeared on you 30 years ago. The man you..." Maya stopped. "Do you even know if he remembers?" Carmen touched the vial. "Coincidences don't exist in chemistry. Every reaction needs a catalyst. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have." Maya pulled up a chair, her expression softening from confrontational to concerned. They had met at Columbia, 2 scholarship students navigating a program designed for people with family money and summer homes in the Hamptons. Maya had been studying fragrance marketing. Carmen, molecular composition. They had bonded over late-night library sessions and the shared experience of being underestimated. "You built a beautiful life," Maya said quietly. "Good marriage, even if it didn't last. Simone is thriving. The maison is respected. Why risk opening old wounds? Maybe they're not wounds. Maybe they're just questions I never answered. Or maybe they're both." Carmen picked up the invitation. The paper felt expensive, substantial. "I'm going to accept, professionally. This is work. Nothing with him will ever be just work. Then I'll learn to compartmentalize." Maya laughed without humor. "You're a perfumer. You built a career on understanding how scent bypasses logic and goes straight to memory. Compartmentalization isn't in your skill set." But Carmen had already made her decision. She drafted the acceptance email that night, keeping it formal and distant. Within 12 hours, she received a response. Not from the foundation, but from someone named C.O. Moran, executive secretary to the CEO. "Ms. Whitaker, Mr. Lee is pleased you've accepted. Arrangements are being made for your arrival. He looks forward to discussing the project with you personally." That final sentence felt loaded. Carmen read it 17 times, searching for subtext, finding only professional courtesy that might also be something else. She booked her flight. She told Simone she'd be in Seoul for 3 weeks. She didn't mention Ji-hoon's name. The night before departure, Carmen stood in her studio holding 2 vials, the accidentally recreated Terminal 4, and an empty vessel. She poured half the formula into the second vial. One for Seoul. One to stay in Brooklyn. Insurance, she told herself, not hope. Lee Ji-hoon's corner office overlooked the Han River. At night, cargo ships moved like constellations across black water, their lights reflecting in patterns that seemed almost deliberate. He preferred working late. Fewer distractions, no pretense, no need to perform the role of CEO for an audience that always watched. The office was minimalist, Danish furniture, exactly 3 pieces of art, all abstract, all expensive, floor-to-ceiling windows that turned the city into wallpaper. The only personal item was a small safe behind the Rothko print, a detail so obvious that people assumed it was decorative. It wasn't. SEO Miran entered without knocking, a privilege earned through 20 years of reading his silences better than most people read contracts. The American perfumer accepted, Miran said, her tablet already showing Carmen's response email. She arrives Tuesday. I've arranged the signal in Lotte Tower. Best view of the port in Seoul. Ji-hoon's pen stopped mid-signature. You didn't tell her I suggested her name. I followed your instructions precisely. The invitation came from the foundation board. Officially, you had no input in the selection process. Good. Sir, may I speak freely? You always do. Miran set down her tablet. 30 years is a long time to keep a vial in a safe. Ji-hoon looked up sharply. Who told you about that? Nobody. I clean your office myself twice a year. The only person you trust with the code. The vial has a label. Terminal 4, October 1995. I'm not an idiot, and I've watched you stare at that safe on difficult days. I can deduce. For a moment, Ji-hoon's corporate mask slipped. He looked his age, 54, weighted by decisions that built empires and hollowed out the spaces where softer things should live. She built an entire life without me, he said quietly. Married, had a daughter, founded a successful maison. Why would she? Because some questions don't die, Miran interrupted. They just wait for braver conditions. Ji-hoon turned back to the window. A container ship slid beneath the Bampo Bridge, red lights blinking like a heartbeat. He had spent 3 decades in this city, in buildings like this one, making decisions that moved money and goods across oceans. Efficient, profitable, empty. What if she doesn't remember? He asked. She accepted the invitation within 4 hours. She remembers. What if she's moved on completely? What if I'm the only one still? Then you'll have your answer. Uncertainty is worse than rejection. Ji-hoon considered this. Miran was right. She usually was. Not knowing had been its own torture. A low-grade ache that never quite healed, never quite killed. Make sure her hotel has a view of the port, he said finally. She'll want to collect scent samples from the terminals. Miran smiled, the kind of smile that subordinates never show their bosses unless the relationship has transcended hierarchy into something resembling family. Already arranged. I also took the liberty of sending her a welcome package. Local tea, a map of Busan's port district, and a handwritten note. From me? From you. I forged your signature. You can thank me later. Ji-hoon shook his head, almost amused despite the anxiety crawling up his spine. You're terrifying. I prefer efficient. Miran picked up her tablet. The gala is in 4 days. She'll probably want to tour the terminals before then. Should I arrange access? Yes, early morning. 6 a.m. Fewer people. Better light. And Miran? Sir? Thank you. For this. She paused at the door. Don't thank me yet. This could go very badly. I know. But it could also go right. And you deserve that possibility. After she left, Ji-hoon sat in the dark office, watching the ships navigate the black water. Each one knew its destination, its cargo, its purpose. He envied their certainty. He thought about opening the safe, looking at the vial one more time. But he'd done that too many times over the years, a ritual of self-torture that never quite satisfied, never quite released. Instead, he drafted an email, deleted it, drafted another, deleted that too. Finally, at 2 a.m., he sent 3 words. Welcome to Seoul. He stared at the screen, wondering if she'd respond. 5 minutes passed. 10. Then his phone lit up. Thank you. Looking forward to the project. Professional. Distant. Exactly what he deserved. But she had responded. At 2 a.m. her time, which meant early morning in New York. Which meant she was awake too, thinking about this, unable to sleep. That had to mean something. Carmen's first morning in Seoul tasted like persimmons and exhaust. The city sprawled in every direction, glass towers punctuated by ancient palaces, the visual grammar of a culture that refused to choose between past and future. Her hotel room on the 78th floor of the Signal felt like living inside a jewelry box. Everything gleamed. Marble floors, brass fixtures, windows so clean they seemed like empty space. But what struck her most was the view. The port district stretched below like an industrial tapestry. Even from this height, even through sealed windows, Carmen could imagine the smells. Brine, diesel, iron oxide, the particular scent of distance and departure. She opened her field kit, a leather case custom-made in Florence, divided into 60 compartments for sample vials, pipettes, pH strips, notebooks. The kit had traveled with her for 15 years. Grasse, Tokyo, São Paulo, Dubai. It bore the scars of a well-used tool, scratches on the leather, a broken clasp repaired with copper wire, coffee stains on the lining. She began labeling sample vials: rope, hemp and tar, oil slick, petroleum, salt, morning fog, ozone, cold metal. The familiar ritual calmed her. This was work. She knew how to work. A knock interrupted her preparation. Hotel staff delivered a basket, Korean tea in a wooden box, a detailed map of Busan's port with handwritten notes in the margins, and a cream card with 3 sentences in precise handwriting. Ms. Whitaker, terminal access has been arranged for tomorrow, 6 a.m. A guide will meet you at gate 7. I hope the city offers inspiration. L.J. His handwriting hadn't changed. Precise, almost architectural. The letters slightly compressed as if conserving space mattered even in personal correspondence. Carmen folded the note and placed it between the pages of her formulation journal, the same journal that still contained the crossed-out attempts at Terminal 4. Ink faded to ghost script over the years. Her phone buzzed. Maya via video call. How's the land of impossible X's? Carmen propped the phone on the desk. Professional, clean. I'm treating this as a standard contract. You're a terrible liar. Have you seen him yet? The gala is tomorrow night. And you're going to stand in a room with 500 people pretending you don't know the exact shape of his collarbone. Sure, that'll work great. Maya, I'm serious, Carm. You need a strategy. Are you going to speak to him, ignore him, cry dramatically and run out like a telenovela? I'm going to be professional. Discuss the installation parameters. Establish clear boundaries. Maya's expression suggested she found this about as plausible as spontaneous combustion. Right. And I'm going to win the lottery and retire to Bali. Your confidence in me is inspiring. My confidence in you is absolute. My confidence in your ability to be rational about this specific man is non-existent. Maya leaned closer to the camera. He was your first real love. You were 22. The brain doesn't forget that. It's neurologically embedded. I'm 52 now. My brain has had 3 decades to rewire. Smell memory lasts forever. You, of all people, know that. Carmen did know that. It was the foundation of her career, understanding how scent bypassed the intellectual cortex and traveled directly to the limbic system, where emotion and memory lived tangled together like roots beneath old trees. I'll be fine, Carmen said, with more certainty than she felt. If you need an exit strategy, text me Bergamot, and I'll call with a fake emergency. That's ridiculous. That's preparation. Different things. After the call, Carmen unpacked methodically. Work clothes for the terminal tour, cargo pants, steel-toed boots, canvas jacket. Evening dress for the gala, champagne silk that Maya had insisted projected autonomy without trying too hard. At the bottom of her suitcase, wrapped in protective silk, the recreated Terminal 4. She had told herself it was for comparison purposes. Professional curiosity. Definitely not hope. She set it on the nightstand where the lamplight caught the amber liquid, turning it luminous. Outside, a cargo ship's horn bellowed, low, mournful, the sound of distance closing or widening, impossible to tell which. Carmen opened her laptop and began sketching preliminary installation concepts. 3 zones: departure, voyage, arrival. The architecture of movement made tangible through scent. But her mind kept drifting to a 4th zone, one she hadn't planned. The space between arrival and departure. The liminal moment when travelers pause, suspended between destinations, neither here nor there. That's where she had lived for 30 years. Maybe that's what the installation was really about. She worked until 4 a.m., when exhaustion finally overrode anxiety. In that half-conscious state before sleep, she allowed herself one dangerous thought. What if he kept his vial too? Then she slept and dreamed of terminals, of amber vials breaking in slow motion, of scent that smelled like hope and regret mixed in equal proportions, impossible to separate. The Grand Hyatt Ballroom was a study in controlled opulence. Ice sculptures shaped like container ships melted slowly under strategic lighting. Centerpieces of white orchids and miniature cranes created tiny port landscapes on each table. 500 guests in formal attire, the air thick with power and French perfume. Carmen arrived alone, wearing the champagne silk dress that skimmed her body in ways that suggested confidence without demanding attention. She had wrestled with her hair for 40 minutes. Down looked too romantic. Up looked too severe. She settled on a low twist that exposed her neck, claimed her age, refused to apologize for 52 years of gravity. She checked her coat and immediately regretted it. The room's air conditioning felt tactical, weaponized. A server offered champagne. She declined, needing her olfactory senses sharp. Already she was cataloging. Too much Chanel no. 5 at table 3. A waiter's cigarette break still clinging to his jacket. Someone's hair pomade. Sandalwood. Probably overpriced. The faint industrial smell of steam heat mixing uneasily with forcing someone to bloom. Ms. Whitaker? She turned. C.O. Moran stood there, impeccable in a navy blazer, iPad against her chest like armor. Her hair was styled in a precise bob, makeup subtle enough to seem like no makeup at all. Everything about her communicated efficiency. I'm Moran, Mr. Lee's executive secretary. He asked me to ensure you were comfortable. That's kind of him. Carmen kept her voice neutral, searching Moran's expression for judgment or curiosity. She found only professional courtesy. The installation timeline has been finalized. We'll need your preliminary sketches by Friday. Mr. Lee wants full creative control to remain with you. No corporate interference. That's unusual for a project this scale. Moran's expression was unreadable. Mr. Lee believes art functions best without committee. He's been quite insistent on this point. Before Carmen could respond, the lights dimmed. The ceremony began. She found her assigned seat, table 9, far enough from the head table to avoid awkwardness, close enough to observe. Her table mates introduced themselves. A logistics professor from Seoul National University, 2 Dutch shipping executives, a journalist from the Korea Herald, and someone's elegant wife who spoke minimal English but smiled warmly. The speeches blurred into corporate gratitude, each speaker thanking the same list of people in slightly different order. Carmen's attention drifted. She studied the room's architecture, calculated how scent would move through the space, wondered if anyone else noticed the slight mildew smell coming from the eastern wall, where humidity had probably compromised the drywall. Then the MC announced Jihoon's name. He rose from the head table. The room seemed to inhale collectively, the way audiences do when someone genuinely important enters the stage. Carmen's professional distance shattered. He looked exactly like himself, only more so. The gray at his temples wasn't defeat. It was distinction earned. The reading glasses added gravitas rather than age. He moved like a man who had earned the right to control the tempo of any room he entered, but without the aggressive swagger that often accompanied executive power. His speech began with expected themes: sustainability, innovation, partnerships with Rotterdam and Singapore. He thanked the foundation, the board, the employees who made C-Link possible. Standard corporate poetry delivered in English with only the slightest accent. But then his tone shifted. "The sea teaches patience," he said, and something in his voice changed, became more personal, more raw. Certain cargo must travel specific routes. Some shipments cannot be rushed, and there are containers that remain sealed, not because they are empty, but because opening them requires the right conditions, the right moment. His gaze swept the room, found Carmen. The world narrowed to that single point of contact. 500 people disappeared. The ornate ballroom became negative space around their locked eyes. 30 years ago, Jehoon continued, his voice dropping half a register, I learned that some journeys are not measured in nautical miles, but in the courage to return to a port you once abandoned. The applause was confused, uncertain. People glanced at each other, seeking context for this unexpected vulnerability. At the head table, a younger man, his brother Sang-woo, Carmen guessed, looked actively alarmed. Carmen's tablemates turned to her, sensing somehow that this concerned her. The journalist's eyes narrowed with professional interest. She needed to leave. Now. Carmen set her napkin beside her untouched plate and stood, moving toward the exit with purpose but not panic. She was 52 years old, accomplished, respected. She would not be reduced to a spectacle. But her hands trembled as she pushed through the lobby doors. The Seoul rain was cold and immediate, October rain that smelled like winter approaching. She stood under the hotel awning, breathing hard, the careful emotional architecture she'd constructed over 3 decades suddenly unstable. You forgot this. She turned. Jehoon stood 3 feet away, the amber vial from her table balanced on his palm. Rain darkened his expensive suit. Water caught in his hair, dripped from his glasses. He looked at her the way a navigator looks at a coastline after months at sea, with relief and terror in equal measure. Or maybe, he added softly, you left it on purpose. Carmen's careful composure cracked. What were you doing with that speech? Telling the truth. In front of 500 people? In front of the press? You're bored? Would you have preferred I lied? I would have preferred you warned me. I didn't plan it. I looked up, saw you, and the prepared remarks seemed like cowardice. She stared at him. 30 years. 2 lives built in opposite hemispheres. And here they stood, rain falling, the past refusing to stay past. I don't know what I prefer, she admitted. I came here for work. So did I. And then you walked into the room wearing that dress, and suddenly work seemed irrelevant. The hotel doors opened behind them. Miran appeared, umbrella already deployed, reading the situation with the speed of someone paid to solve problems before they became crises. She stepped forward, holding the umbrella over both of them without comment. It forced proximity, shoulders almost touching, the scent of wet wool and cedar and 30 years of unfinished conversation. I kept it, Jehoon said abruptly, as if the words had been building pressure for decades. The original, Terminal 4. I never opened it. Carmen's breath caught. Why? Because opening it would mean accepting you weren't coming back. As long as it stayed sealed, the possibility lived. The rain intensified. Miran adjusted the umbrella, her expression carefully neutral, despite witnessing what was clearly a moment of significant personal revelation. We should go inside, Miran said quietly. The press is watching. Carmen looked up. Through the rain-blurred glass, she could see guests gathering at the windows, phones already raised, capturing this moment for immediate distribution across platforms she barely understood. Too late, Carmen murmured. Jehoon followed her gaze. His jaw tightened. Not with anger, but with the resignation of someone who had just made an irreversible public choice. I'm sorry, I didn't think... No, Carmen interrupted. You didn't. But neither did I. She stepped out from under the umbrella, into the full force of the rain. Let them photograph. Let them speculate. She was 52 years old, had survived a marriage, raised a daughter. built a business from sample vials and sheer determination. She would not be shamed for standing in rain with a man who remembered the shape of her younger self. "The terminal tour," she said, turning back to Jihoon, rain streaming down her face, her carefully styled hair already collapsing. "Tomorrow, 6 a.m. I'll be there." Then she walked into the rain, hailed a taxi with the confidence of someone who knew her own worth, and disappeared into Seoul's neon labyrinth. Behind her, Jihoon stood motionless, suit ruined, glasses fogged useless. The umbrella Moran still held over him suddenly absurd. "Sir, you're completely soaked." "I know. The board will want an explanation for that speech." "Let them want. The press will speculate." "Let them speculate." Moran lowered the umbrella slightly, studying him with the frank assessment of someone who had watched him for 20 years. "It's good to see you reckless. It's been 30 years. That long?" "Exactly that long. Since before I knew you. But I've seen the date on that vial. October 1995. I can subtract." Jihoon finally looked at her. "Did I just destroy everything my father built?" "No. You just admitted you're human. In Korean corporate culture, that's almost as dramatic. But not fatal. What do I do now?" "You go inside. You finish the evening. You thank people gracefully. Tomorrow, you show her the port. You be honest. You see what happens. And if it ends badly, then at least you tried. Regret is lighter than wondering." They walked back inside together, leaving wet footprints across marble floors, evidence of choices made in rain. The original vial lived in Jihoon's office safe, behind the false panel beneath the Rothko print. Only 3 people knew the safe's combination: Jihoon, his brother Sang-woo, and Moran, though Moran had never mentioned it until last week. At 2 a.m., unable to sleep, Jihoon sat at his desk with the vial between his hands. Amber liquid, label yellowed at the edges, her handwriting spelling out Terminal 4 in the careful script of a chemistry student who believed precision could protect against heartbreak. The vial was smaller than he remembered. Funny how memory inflated significance. Just 30 milliliters of liquid that had somehow dictated 3 decades of his emotional architecture. He had opened the safe perhaps 50 times over the years, usually late at night, usually after too much scotch, usually on October 17th, her birthday, a date he had never forgotten despite trying. Never opened the vial, though. Opening it would release the scent into air, where it would oxidize, fade, die. As long as it remained sealed, the moment lived in suspended animation, protected from time's corruption. His phone buzzed. A message from Sang-woo. "We need to talk. Press is asking questions about your speech." Jihoon ignored it. Another message, this time from Moran. Tabloid headline: Sealink CEO's mystery woman, U.S. perfumer has history with Jihoon. Photo attached. He opened the image. Someone with a long lens had captured them under the umbrella, faces inches apart, rain creating a curtain of intimacy. The photo was actually beautiful, which meant it would spread exponentially. A third message, from a number he didn't recognize. "This is Carmen. Moran gave me your private line. Are you awake?" His fingers hovered over the keyboard, suddenly adolescent with uncertainty. Then, "Yes. Can we meet?" "Before the terminal tour. Somewhere without cameras. My office. I'll send a car. Is 4 a.m. too early?" "I'm already awake. Send the address." At 3:47 a.m., Jihoon received notification from building security. His guest had arrived. He met her at the elevator personally, unable to delegate even this small courtesy. The doors opened. Carmen stepped out wearing jeans and a gray cashmere sweater, her hair pulled back in a simple ponytail, no makeup. This was the Carmen he remembered. Focused, direct, beautiful in the way that has nothing to do with ornamentation and everything to do with presence. "Coffee?" he offered. "Please, black." He led her to his office, simultaneously proud of and embarrassed by the space. It communicated success, but also isolation. Too clean, too controlled, more museum than haven. "Nice view." Carmen said, moving to the windows. Thank you. The ship's help reminds me there's movement even when I feel stuck. She turned, eyebrow raised. That's surprisingly poetic for a logistics executive. I have hidden depths. I remember. The words hung between them, weighted with history. Jihoon poured coffee from a French press, Colombian beans, medium roast. She took it black, just as she had at 22. Some things didn't change. The photo is going to complicate things, Carmen said directly. Yes. My business partner thinks I'm insane for being here. My ex-husband called it unresolved trauma seeking narrative closure. My daughter asked if I was having a midlife crisis. What do you think it is? She walked to the window, cupping the coffee mug for warmth, despite the precisely controlled office temperature. I think I accidentally recreated a perfume I've been trying to forget for 30 years, and 3 days later your name appeared in my email. I don't believe in accidents. Jihoon set down his mug carefully. Neither do I. He crossed to the Rothko print, all red and black edges, appropriate for what he was about to do, and pressed the hidden latch. The panel swung open. He removed the vial with the reverence usually reserved for religious relics. Carmen's breath caught audibly. You really kept it. I told you. I don't lie about small things. This isn't small. No, he agreed quietly. It never was. He placed the vial on the desk between them, this 30-year-old artifact of a relationship that had lasted 4 months, but somehow defined 3 decades. I made a new batch, Carmen said. In Brooklyn, 5 nights ago. Identical formula. I didn't mean to. My hands just remembered, like they had a memory independent of my brain. Muscle memory. Emotional memory, which is worse. Harder to logic away. Does it still work? The formula? I don't know. I haven't tested it. I brought it with me to Seoul, but I can't bring myself to open it. Jihoon understood completely. Same. 30 years of not opening mine. They stared at the vial. The office's HVAC system hummed. Outside, the sky began its slow shift toward dawn, black to charcoal to that particular shade of purple that only exists in the hour before sunrise. If we open this, Carmen said slowly, there's no going back. The scent will oxidize, change. It won't be 1995 anymore. It'll become 2025. Maybe that's exactly the point. She met his eyes. You left. You got on a plane and you didn't come back. You said 3 months. It's been 30 years. I know. That's all you have to say? I know. What else is there? I can explain. I can apologize, but I can't change it. Carmen's hands tightened around her coffee mug. Try explaining. So he did. The story spilled out. His father's stroke 3 days after landing in Seoul. The doctors saying recovery was impossible. The board in chaos. His mother insisting he take over immediately, because waiting would show weakness, and there were sharks circling, competitors ready to exploit any sign of instability. I was 24, Jihoon said. I barely knew how to run my own life, much less a company. I called you. 17 times in the first month. You never answered. Carmen blinked. I never got... She stopped. Realization dawning. My roommate. She thought you were distracting me from my degree. She said I was becoming someone she didn't recognize. I sent letters, 4 of them, care of the Columbia Chemistry Department. I never received any mail. They stared at each other. 30 years of assumptions collapsing like badly constructed scaffolding. Who do we blame for this? Carmen whispered. Does it matter? Yes. Because if it's just miscommunication, then we're idiots. If it's fate, then we're tragic. If it's malice, then we're victims. I need to know which story I'm living in. Jihoon picked up the vial, feeling its weight. Negligible physically, enormous emotionally. We could test it. See if the formula still works after 3 decades. Or we could leave it sealed. Preserve the memory exactly as it was. Perfect and untouchable. I've spent 30 years preserving. Building a company my father would be proud of. Honoring his legacy. Being the son he needed. I'm tired of preservation, Carmen. I want transformation. He twisted the cap before she could protest. The seal broke with the smallest click, a sound that meant everything. The scent escaped. Bergamot turned honeyed with age, tea gone earthy, rain note surprisingly intact. Cedar warmed into something almost amber. It wasn't the same. It was better. Time had refined it, the way pressure turns carbon into diamond, the way suffering can sometimes, not always, but sometimes, make people deeper. Carmen inhaled. Tears came without permission. Oh God. Jehoon's eyes were wet too. It's different, but ours. Still ours. They stood in the changing light, breathing in evidence that some things don't die. They just wait for the right conditions to transform. Carmen reached across the desk. Her hand found his. Their fingers interlaced with the easy inevitability of chemical bonds forming. Oxygen seeking hydrogen, attraction at the molecular level. I don't know how to do this, she admitted. I have a life, a business, a daughter in college. I can't just... I'm not asking you to abandon anything. I'm asking for a chance to build something new alongside what already exists. The press will destroy us. Your business, my reputation. There will be people who say I'm using you, that you're fetishizing me, that this is midlife crisis or publicity stunt or... Let them try. I'm 54. I've built something that can withstand scrutiny. Have you? Because one romantic failure can undo decades of corporate success. You know that. Then we make sure it's not a failure. Outside, the sun crested the horizon. Gold light flooded the office, turning everything warm. The port below came alive. Ships departing, ships arriving. The endless cycle of things leaving and returning and leaving again. The installation, Carmen said finally. If we're going to do this, we do it professionally first. I design the best work of my career. You provide the platform and then stay out of my process. No special treatment because of our history. No interference. Agreed. And after the installation launches, after the reviews come in and the public judges the work on its merits, then we figure out what this is. Not before. Deal? Jehoon nodded slowly. One condition. What? We stop lying to ourselves that this is just nostalgia. We're adults. We know the difference between missing who someone was and wanting who they've become. Carmen's grip tightened on his hand. 30 years of wondering, compressed into this moment of decision. Deal, she whispered. The office door opened. Moran entered, stopped abruptly, took in the scene, clasped hands, opened vial, dawn light making them both look simultaneously their age and ageless. I'm interrupting, she said. Yes, Jehoon replied calmly, but we're done hiding. Moran's expression cycled through surprise, concern, and finally something that looked like relief. About damn time, sir. Call Sangwoo. Tell him we're moving forward with the installation as planned. Tell him I'll address the board's concerns about my personal life at next week's meeting. Tell him... Jehoon paused. Tell him I'm happy, and he'll have to accept that. After Moran left, Carmen and Jehoon remained standing, hands still clasped, the opened vial between them releasing its transformed scent into the controlled office air. This is insane, Carmen said. Probably. We're going to regret this. Maybe. But we're doing it anyway. Yes, she smiled then. The first genuine smile he'd seen from her since she arrived in Seoul. Okay then. Show me your port. Let's see if we can build something as good as what we remember. The port terminal at 6 a.m. was a symphony of controlled chaos. Container cranes moved with mechanical grace, their movements choreographed by unseen operators. Forklifts shuttled pallets in precise patterns. The air was thick with salt, rust, diesel, and something indefinable. The scent of departure and return, of things moving across impossible distances. Carmen stood at Gate 7, field kit in hand, dressed for serious work. Cargo pants with multiple pockets, steel-toed boots that had seen 3 continents, canvas jacket faded from years of field collection. Her hair was braided back tightly. She wore no jewelry. This was Carmen the scientist, the chemist, the professional. Ji-hoon arrived in a company vehicle, also dressed down. Dark jeans, C-link windbreaker, work boots instead of Italian leather. It was the first time she'd seen him without a suit. He looked younger, more accessible, almost vulnerable. "Ready?" he asked. "Show me everything." A security officer approached. Older man, weathered face, the posture of someone who had spent decades enforcing rules. He and Ji-hoon exchanged greetings in Korean. The man's expression shifted from professional respect to something warmer. He clapped Ji-hoon on the shoulder, said something that made Ji-hoon laugh. "He remembers me as a teenager," Ji-hoon explained to Carmen. "I used to come here with my father. Mr. Park taught me how container loading works. Said I was terrible at it." "Were you?" "Absolutely. I preferred chemistry labs to cargo holds." They walked the terminal for 3 hours, Carmen collecting samples with fierce concentration. She knelt beside mooring lines, scraping hemp fiber into labeled vials, rope, tar, salt, decades of weathering. She captured oil-slicked water from beneath the docks in sterile bottles, petroleum rainbows, biological decay, iron. She used a metal scraper to collect rust from a crane, iron oxide, paint, time itself made tangible. She held sterile cotton out to capture fog molecules, cold metal, ozone, early morning moisture. Ji-hoon watched, fascinated by her process. She would close her eyes and simply breathe, her face shifting as she identified specific molecules, her internal chemistry database cataloging in real time. "What do you smell right now?" he asked. Carmen opened her eyes slowly, returning from wherever scent analysis took her consciousness. Top notes: diesel exhaust, sea salt, coffee from the workers' break room. Cheap instant, not fresh brewed. Middle notes: machine oil, wet concrete, something floral, probably jasmine or gardenias from those shipping containers labeled Thai agricultural goods. Base notes: rust, old wood, human sweat, but clean sweat, work sweat, not distress. And underneath everything, she paused, searching for language adequate to sensation. "Underneath," Ji-hoon prompted. "Anticipation. It's not a molecule, but ports always smell like anticipation. Things arriving, things leaving." The scent of possibility made physical. "I've worked here 20 years. I never thought about it that way." "That's because you're inside it. I'm translating. That's what perfumers do. We're interpreters between the olfactory and linguistic worlds." They climbed to an observation platform overlooking the main container yard. Below, a massive ship was being loaded, each container slotting into place with precision choreography, cranes moving in synchronized patterns that seemed almost balletic. "This is what you wanted, isn't it?" Carmen said quietly. "When you left New York. This legacy. It's what my father needed." "That's not what I asked." Ji-hoon leaned against the railing, watching his empire function without him. A realization both liberating and unsettling. "I wanted you, and I wanted this. I was 24. I thought I had to choose. I didn't understand that some choices aren't either or, that you can hold multiple truths simultaneously. And now I'm 54. I've built the legacy. C-Link operates in 47 countries. We pioneered sustainable shipping routes. We employ 30,000 people. I've honored my father's vision beyond what he probably imagined possible." He turned to face her. "And I've been alone the entire time. You could have married. I'm sure there were offers, arrangements. My mother introduced me to appropriate women from appropriate families. I attended dinners, I was polite. I even dated some of them for respectable periods. But none of them were you. And it seemed unfair to marry someone while wishing they were someone else." A ship's horn sounded. Long, low. The frequency that travels across water and through bone. The kind of sound you feel in your chest before you hear it with your ears. Carmen set down her collection kit. "Ji-hoon, we're not 22 anymore. We have histories, complications. I was married for 18 years. I have a daughter who... I know everything. Maya told Moran, who told me. Your ex-husband Thomas is a professor at NYU, medieval literature. You divorced amicably 5 years ago because you'd become affectionate roommates rather than partners. Your daughter Simone is studying architecture at Yale. She's brilliant, apparently. Won some significant prize last year. You co-parent beautifully. Thomas remarried last year to another professor. You attended the wedding. I'm not asking you to erase any of that. Carmen stared at him. You researched me. I prepared. There's a difference. That's stalking. That's LinkedIn and public records. Also, Moran is terrifyingly efficient. Despite herself, Carmen laughed. This is insane. Completely. We live on opposite sides of the planet. Flights exist. I have a business to run. So do I. We'll figure it out. You're being unreasonably optimistic. I'm being hopeful. I've spent 30 years being reasonable. It made me wealthy and miserable. Before Carmen could respond, a camera shutter clicked. Distinct, unmistakable, the predatory sound of a photograph being taken without permission. They both turned. A photographer, 50 yards away, long lens aimed directly at them, motor drive clicking through frames. Shit, Jehoon muttered. Another series of clicks. The photographer was already retreating toward the parking lot. Mission accomplished. That'll be online within an hour, Carmen said, voice flat. Yes. Your board is going to lose their minds. Probably. She picked up her kit with sharp movements, anger and fear mixing in her expression. We should go, before this gets worse. But as they walked back toward the vehicle, Jehoon's hand found hers. Not hiding, not hesitating. A public claim that would cost them both. Made anyway. Carmen didn't pull away. Her fingers tightened around his. A counterclaim, an answer, a choice made consciously despite knowing the consequences. Behind them, the port continued its choreography. Ships arrived, ships departed. The world moved forward whether they were ready or not. By noon, the photo was everywhere. Korean news portals, international gossip sites, Twitter threads dissecting every pixel. Someone had enhanced the image, zoomed in on their clasped hands, their expressions, her looking toward the horizon, him looking at her with unmistakable tenderness. Headlines ranged from curiosity to cruelty. C-Link CEO's secret romance? Chaebol heir and American artist. Cross-continental love story? Who is Carmen Whitaker, and why does Lee Jehoon look happier than he has in years? Black perfumer, coincidentally, hired by Korean billionaire ex-boyfriend. What are the odds? Carmen sat in her hotel room, laptop open to the damage spreading in real time. The comments sections were predictable cesspools, some supportive, many cruel, all intrusive. She's beautiful. Good for him. Gold digger. Obviously using him for contracts. Interracial couples are so inspirational. She's too old for him. Look at those wrinkles. He could have any Korean woman. Why her? This is clearly a publicity stunt for her failing business. Her phone rang. Maya, of course. You're viral. Like, actually viral. The photo has 2.3 million views and climbing. Carmen closed the laptop, unable to look anymore. I'm aware. The Maison's Instagram gained 40,000 followers in 6 hours. People want to know about you, about your work, about whether the Black American perfumer is using a Korean billionaire for publicity. Silence stretched across the international connection. Then Maya's voice, quieter. Some of the comments are not great. I've seen them. Carmen, you don't have to read that garbage. People are terrible on the internet. It doesn't reflect. Yes, it does. It reflects exactly what they think when they're anonymous. That I'm too old, too black, too ambitious, too American. That I must be using him because why else would a man like that want a woman like me? Fuck them. That's not a strategy. It's a philosophy. You're 52 years old. You've built a respected business. You've raised an incredible daughter. You don't owe strangers an explanation for standing next to a man who clearly adores you. Another call beeped through. Simone, her daughter. Maya, I need to take this. Call me back. I'm booking a flight to Seoul. You need backup. Maya? Non-negotiable. I'm your business partner and your friend. I'll be there in 2 days. Carmen switched calls. Hi, sweetheart. Mom, are you okay? I just saw everyone sending me links and asking questions, and some of them are saying really racist things and... Breathe, Simone. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. You sound like you're about to cry. Carmen looked at herself in the hotel mirror, eyes red, face drawn, the confident woman who'd arrived in Seoul 4 days ago, now hollowed by scrutiny. It's complicated, honey, but I'm handling it. Is this the guy from your Columbia days? The one you never talk about but Dad said you sometimes mentioned in your sleep? Carmen's throat tightened. Yes. Damn. Okay. Do you need me to fly to Korea? Because I will. I'll skip midterms. I'll tell Professor Chen that family emergency. No. Stay in school. I can handle this. Mom, the internet is being racist and invasive and generally horrible, and you're dealing with it alone. I'm not alone. Maya's flying in, and Jihoon is... She paused. He's trying to help. Is he worth it? All of this? The scrutiny, the comments, the way people are picking apart your life? Carmen considered the question seriously. I don't know yet. But I think I need to find out. Does that make sense? Yeah. Actually, it does. Just don't let them make you small, okay? You taught me that. Don't shrink yourself to fit their comfort. After the call, Carmen stared at the photo one more time. She looked different than she'd expected. Not vulnerable, not victimized. She looked like a woman who knew her worth and was choosing, consciously, to let someone matter. Her phone buzzed with a new message. Jihoon, emergency board meeting in 1 hour. Sangwoo is furious. How are you holding up? She typed, I've survived worse. His response came immediately. That's not an answer. It's the only answer I have right now. Can I see you tonight? After I survive whatever corporate tribunal awaits? Carmen hesitated, fingers hovering. Then, yes, but somewhere private. I can't handle more cameras today. My apartment. I'll send a car. 8 p.m. A knock at her door interrupted. She opened it to find Seo Miran, carrying a large envelope and wearing an expression that managed to communicate both sympathy and efficiency. May I come in? Carmen stepped aside. Miran entered, removed her shoes with practiced grace, and set the envelope on the desk. From Mr. Lee. He wanted you to have this before the board meeting. What is it? Context. He thinks you deserve the full story before making any decisions about whether to continue with the project or with him. Carmen opened the envelope carefully. Inside, press clippings from 1995, yellowed with age. Articles about Lee Industries, Sealink's former name, in crisis after the founder's stroke. Photos of a 24-year-old Jihoon looking overwhelmed at a podium, too young for the suit he wore, eyes hollow with grief and responsibility. A translated interview where he stated, My personal life is irrelevant. My father built this company with his hands and his vision. The employees depend on us. The families depend on us. That's all that matters now. Another article from 6 months later. Young Lee Jihoon stabilizes company through strategic partnerships and brutal work ethic. Industry insiders call it unprecedented. A final piece from 1997. Lee Industries expands to Singapore. CEO Lee credits late father's vision. When asked about marriage prospects, Lee states he has no time for personal complications. I didn't know, Carmen whispered. Miran adjusted her glasses, a tell that she was about to say something significant. He never wanted you to know. He thought telling you would sound like excuses, like he was trying to justify what couldn't be justified. But this changes everything. If he was dealing with all of this, does it? You still lost 30 years. He still made choices that hurt you. Context explains, but it doesn't erase. Carmen looked up sharply. Whose side are you on? His. Always. But that means telling him uncomfortable truths, not protecting him from consequences. Miran moved toward the door, then paused. I've worked for him for 20 years. I've watched him build an empire. I've also watched him drink alone in his office on October 17th every single year. Your birthday, I assume." Carmen nodded, unable to speak. "He deserves happiness. So do you. The tabloids will pass. They always do. Racism and misogyny are eternal, unfortunately, but specific news cycles end. What matters is whether you're brave enough to claim what you want in the window you're given." After Miran left, Carmen called Ji-hoon directly. He answered on the first ring, background noise suggesting he was already in the boardroom. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I'm in a conference room being lectured about reputational management and strategic optics. You?" "Reading comments about how I'm either a gold digger or a diversity hire, depending on which platform you prefer." "I'm sorry. I should have—" Don't apologize for being seen with me. That's not the problem. The problem is a world that can't imagine a black woman and a Korean man might just genuinely care about each other without ulterior motives. Voices in the background called his name, impatient. "I have to go face the firing squad," Ji-hoon said. "But tonight, dinner at my place. Just us. No cameras, no contracts, no performances." "Okay. Carmen?" "Yeah? Thank you for not running." "The day is young," she said, but she was smiling despite everything. Ji-hoon's apartment occupied the penthouse of a building in Hanam-dong, the kind of address that communicated wealth without vulgarity. Carmen arrived at 8, escorted by a driver who said nothing but drove with the careful attention of someone transporting valuable cargo. The apartment was beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river, minimalist furniture in warm woods and soft grays, art that looked original and expensive. But what struck Carmen most was how lived-in it felt. Books on shelves actually read, not decorative. A coffee mug on the kitchen counter. Reading glasses on the side table. A blanket draped over the couch as if someone actually sat there. Ji-hoon answered the door in jeans and a simple black shirt. Barefoot, hair slightly mussed. This was the most unguarded she'd seen him. "Come in. I'm attempting to cook." "That sounds dangerous." "It is. I ordered backup from a restaurant. It's arriving in 30 minutes if I fail." The kitchen smelled of garlic and ginger. He was making something in a wok. Vegetables and what looked like shrimp, movements uncertain but determined. "Can I help?" Carmen offered. "You can keep me company. Tell me about the board meeting." Ji-hoon grimaced, adjusting the heat. "Sang-woo wants me to issue a statement calling our relationship strictly professional. 3 board members threaten to resign if I don't manage the optics. The Rotterdam partners are concerned that personal drama will overshadow the merger. Maybe you should listen to them." "Carmen, I'm serious. This project is huge for you. Your business could— My business is fine. It survived worse than one CEO having a personal life. But the merger will proceed or it won't. I refuse to sacrifice my humanity for corporate convenience." He turned off the heat, plated the food with surprising competence. "Besides, I told them that if they force me to choose between love and logistics, they might not like my answer." "What did they say?" Sang-woo looked like I'd announced plans to join a circus. My mother called immediately after and asked if I'd lost my mind. Miran just smiled, which was somehow the most alarming response. They ate at the dining table, the city lights creating a private galaxy beyond the windows. The food was actually good, not restaurant quality, but honest and warm. "I read the articles," Carmen said, "from 1995, about your father, the company crisis. Miran brought them." Ji-hoon set down his chopsticks. "I didn't want you to think I was using his death as an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's reality. You were 24 and suddenly responsible for thousands of people. I can't imagine. I could have found you eventually. Once things stabilized. I had resources. I chose not to because I was afraid." "Of what?" "That you'd moved on. That reaching out after years of silence would be selfish. That you were better off without the complication of someone who had already proven unreliable." Carmen reached across the table, taking his hand. "I moved on. Built a whole life. Married someone kind. Had a daughter. created a business, and none of it erased you. Thomas used to joke that he was married to me and the ghost of my Columbia chemistry boy. He wasn't entirely wrong. Did you love him? Yes, just not the way I loved you. More gently, less dangerously. And when you divorced, I felt relief, and guilt about feeling relief. He deserved better than someone who was emotionally elsewhere. They cleaned the dishes together, falling into an easy rhythm that felt earned rather than performed. Carmen washed, Jihoon dried, their shoulders occasionally touching in the compact kitchen. What happens now? Carmen asked, handing him a plate. Now we decide if this is worth fighting for. Not the nostalgia, the actual present tense us. I don't know who the present tense us is yet. Then we find out. 3 weeks for the installation. After it launches, we evaluate. No pressure, no promises, just honest assessment. Carmen considered this. It was reasonable, mature, the kind of decision 50-something adults made instead of the dramatic pronouncements of 20-year-olds. Okay, she agreed. But I need boundaries. The installation is mine. You don't get creative input just because we're whatever this is. I need my work to stand independently. Agreed. Anything else? If this goes badly, if the installation fails or the relationship implodes or both, we handle it with dignity. No public recriminations, no using the press to hurt each other. Deal. They moved to the couch, Carmen curling into his side with the ease of someone whose body remembered this geography. Outside, Seoul glittered. Inside, two people who had spent 30 years apart tried to figure out how to occupy the same space. Tell me about Simone, Jihoon said. So Carmen did. She talked about her daughter's brilliance with spatial design, her tendency to sketch buildings on napkins during family dinners, her fierce sense of justice inherited from both parents. She showed photos on her phone. Simone at graduation, Simone at her first architecture exhibition, Simone making a ridiculous face at Thanksgiving. She's beautiful, Jihoon said. She has your eyes. She has Thomas's patience, thank God. I would have raised a disaster alone. I doubt that. I know it. Parenting requires skills I had to learn. Thomas had them naturally. They talked for hours. Carmen learned about Jihoon's brother Sang-woo. Younger by 5 years, competent but always competing, now VP of operations and perpetually frustrated at living in Jihoon's shadow. About his mother, the matriarch who had held the family together after his father's death through sheer force of will. About the loneliness of executive leadership, how everyone wanted his authority, but no one wanted his burden. Around midnight, Carmen's phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Landing in Seoul tomorrow at 3 p.m. Need me to bring anything besides moral support and rage? Carmen smiled, typing back. Just yourself, and maybe patience. This is complicated. Everything worth having is. See you tomorrow. Love you. She showed Jihoon the exchange. Maya's flying in. Fair warning, she's protective and has no filter. I'd expect nothing less. Miran will probably try to befriend her. They're both terrifying in similar ways. That's genuinely frightening to imagine. Carmen should have left. It was late. She had samples to catalog, sketches to finish. But leaving felt impossible, like tearing herself away from something that had just started to heal. I should go, she said anyway. You should, Jihoon agreed, not moving. I have work tomorrow. You do. This is irresponsible. Completely. She kissed him then. Not the desperate kiss of reunion, but the deliberate kiss of adults who understood consequences and chose connection anyway. His hands found her waist. Her fingers threaded through his hair. The years between them collapsed into this moment of presence. When they finally broke apart, both breathless, Jihoon touched her face gently. Stay, he said. I can't. I know. But stay anyway. So she did. They fell asleep on the couch like teenagers, awkward and perfect, the city lights watching through floor-to-ceiling windows, two people finally brave enough to stop running from what they'd spent 30 years trying to forget. 3 days before the installation's first phase, Miran invited Carmen for coffee. Not business coffee, personal coffee. They met at a small cafe in Itaewon, far from the corporate towers and watching eyes. Miran arrived exactly on time, shed her corporate armor, blazer hung on the chair, hair down from its usual severe bun, and ordered an Americano with 3 shots of espresso. "I need to confess something," Miran said without preamble. Carmen waited, cradling her own cup. "I'm the one who arranged your invitation. I researched emerging perfumers internationally, found your work, saw your Columbia graduate records, and I saw his name listed as a former lab partner in your thesis acknowledgments. That's not public information. I had to dig." Carmen's coffee cup stopped halfway to her lips. "I've worked for Jihoon for 20 years, Miran continued, words coming faster now, as if confession required momentum. "He's brilliant, dedicated, impossibly kind to employees, and profoundly lonely. Every year on October 17th, he works late and drinks expensive scotch alone in his office. He never explained why. But 6 years ago, I found the vial in the safe while organizing archived documents. He told me you knew. I do. And I realized, this man has been grieving a ghost for decades. Functional grieving. He runs a company, makes sound decisions, maintains relationships. But there's always been this hollow space in him." Miran took a long drink of coffee. "So when the foundation needed an artist for the installation, I suggested your name. I researched your work first. It's genuinely extraordinary. So my recommendation was professionally sound. But I didn't tell him I'd made the connection. I wanted to see if..." She paused, searching for words. "If what?" Carmen prompted. "If some connections survive time intact. If love could be placed in suspension and reactivated under the right conditions. I'm a romantic, apparently, despite all evidence to the contrary." Carmen sat back, processing. "You engineered this. I created an opportunity. You both chose to walk through it. There's a difference." "Why are you telling me now?" Miran's expression softened in a way that transformed her entire face. "Because you deserve to know that this wasn't random. And because I need you to understand something. If you're here for closure, take it and leave cleanly. But if you're here because you still feel what he feels, stay. Fight for it. Because men like Jihoon don't break their own rules unless something matters desperately. And if it fails? If the installation bombs? If the press destroys us? Then you'll have tried. Regret is lighter than wondering. Trust me, I know." Something in Miran's tone suggested personal experience. Carmen waited, giving her space to continue or retreat. "I was married once," Miran said quietly. 25 years ago. He was brilliant and impossible, and I loved him completely. He wanted me to leave Korea, move to London with him. I chose my career instead. This job, specifically. I told myself it was the responsible choice. Do you regret it? Every day. He's married now, has 3 children, seems happy, and I'm here, running someone else's life beautifully, while mine remains perfectly managed and utterly empty." Miran met Carmen's eyes. "Don't be me. Don't choose safety over possibility." Before Carmen could respond, Miran pulled a small box from her bag and slid it across the table. "What's this?" "Letters. 4 of them. The ones Jihoon sent in 1995 to Columbia. They were returned to C-Link's New York office, marked addressee unknown. I found them in archived correspondence 6 months ago while digitizing old records. I thought you should read them." Carmen stared at the box as if it contained something alive and dangerous. "Will it change anything?" she asked. "I don't know. But you deserve the full story." That evening, alone in her hotel room, Carmen opened the letters with trembling hands. The paper was thin, aged yellow, his handwriting younger but recognizable. October 28, 1995. Carmen. My father collapsed 3 days after I landed. Massive stroke. The doctors say he won't recover fully. His right side is paralyzed, speech compromised. The board is in chaos. Everyone's looking to me, and I barely know where the bathrooms are in the headquarters building. I need to stay longer than planned. I'm so sorry. I'll call when I can. Please wait for me. Please. Diary, November 15th, 1995. Carmen. I've called 17 times. Your roommate says you're busy with research. I know you're angry. I deserve that. I broke my promise. But please, talk to me. I need to hear your voice. This isn't abandonment. It's emergency. My father is dying and taking the company with him, unless I figure out how to hold it together. I'm 24, and everyone's waiting for me to fail. You're the only thing that makes sense, and you're 7,000 miles away and silent. I don't know how to fix this. J. December 3rd, 1995. Carmen. My father died last week. Funeral was yesterday. Hundreds of people all watching to see if I'd break. I didn't. I can't. I'm the CEO now, 24 years old, running a company I barely understand. Everyone is watching, waiting for me to fail. Some hoping I will so they can take over. I can't breathe. I can't think. You're the only thing that makes sense in my head, and you're gone, and I don't know how to do this without you, but I have to. Please, write back. Please. J. January 9th, 1996. Carmen. This is my last letter. If you don't want me, I understand. You deserve better than someone who leaves, who breaks promises, who chooses duty over love. I just need you to know. I loved you. Present tense. I still love you. If you ever change your mind, I'm here. I'll be here. I'll wait as long as it takes. But I can't keep shouting into silence. It's killing me slowly, and I have too many people depending on me to break completely. I hope you're happy. I hope someone loves you better than I managed to. I hope you forget me eventually, even though I know I'll never forget you. Aina and Carmen read them 3 times. Duryi, Carmen. Tears came in waves, for the boy he'd been, for the woman she'd been, for 30 years of misunderstanding stacked like sedimentary rock, layering pain on pain until the original hurt became unrecognizable. She called Maya, voice shaking. I've been wrong about everything. What happened? He didn't ghost me. He tried, over and over. Someone intercepted his letters. Probably my roommate. She thought he was a distraction. And he kept calling, but I never got the messages because I was hiding in the lab, avoiding exactly those calls. Oh, honey. Maya, what do I do? How do I grieve 30 years that didn't have to happen? You don't. You can't. You just accept that life is chaos and miscommunication, and sometimes the worst things happen for no reason at all except bad timing and interfering roommates. Maya's voice softened. What matters is now. You know the truth. What are you going to do with it? Carmen looked at the letters spread across her hotel bed, like evidence in a trial that had lasted 3 decades. I'm going to stop punishing him for something he didn't do. I'm going to see if we can build something new from all these broken pieces. Good. That's good. I'll be there tomorrow to help. Thank you. That's what family does. And Carmen, I'm proud of you for being brave enough to try again. After the call, Carmen texted Jehoon. Can you come to my hotel? I need to see you. He arrived within 20 minutes, still in work clothes, face creased with concern. What's wrong? She handed him the letters wordlessly. Watched his face change as he realized what he was holding. His own words from 30 years ago, preserved and returned. Where did you... Miran found them. They were returned to your company, marked undeliverable. I never got them. Any of them. Jehoon sat heavily on the bed, letters in his lap. You thought I just disappeared. Yes. And you built a whole life believing I chose to abandon you. Yes. Carmen, His voice broke. I'm so sorry. If I'd known, if I'd tried harder to find you. You were 24, and your father died, and you were running a company. You tried. I hid. We were both doing the best we could with incomplete information. He looked up at her, eyes wet. What do we do now? Carmen knelt in front of him, taking his hands. We stop apologizing. We accept that we lost 30 years to bad luck and worse timing. And we decide if the people we are now want what the people we were then couldn't have. I want that. God, I want that. So do I, which terrifies me. Me too. They held each other in the generic hotel room, surrounded by evidence of communication that had failed 3 decades ago, finally hearing what they'd been trying to say all along. The article dropped at 6 a.m. on the day of the installation's Phase 1 setup, calculated for maximum damage. The headline was surgical in its cruelty. American perfumer uses CEO for career boost. Sources say Whitaker targeted Lee for publicity. In the piece cited anonymous sources close to the project, claiming Carmen had researched Ji-hoon's wealth before accepting the commission. It included financial speculation about the Maison's supposedly struggling revenue, false, insinuations about her divorce. Financial settlement favored her significantly, also false. And a quote from a former colleague saying Carmen always knew how to leverage personal relationships for professional gain. It was character assassination disguised as journalism, each paragraph carefully crafted to destroy while maintaining plausible deniability. Carmen read it twice, numb, while her hotel room coffee went cold. Then her phone exploded. Maya, Simone, colleagues, even Thomas offering legal advice and support. Ji-hoon arrived within an hour, bypassing hotel security with the authority of someone who probably owned the building. He found her sitting on the floor, laptop open, reading the article for the 7th time as if repetition might change its contents. "I'm handling this," he said, kneeling beside her. "There's nothing to handle. It's already out there, already spreading. C-Link's legal team is preparing a defamation suit. We'll identify the source, Don't." Carmen closed the laptop. Lawsuits make it bigger. Denial looks like confirmation. Silence starves it eventually. I won't let them destroy you. They can't destroy me. I've survived worse than internet speculation. She handed him her phone. But you need to read the comments, because some of them are coming from inside your own company. Ji-hoon scrolled, his expression darkening with each paragraph. The comments were predictably vicious. She's using him, obviously. No successful perfumer would need this kind of publicity. Age difference is concerning. She's older, definitely targeting his money. Interracial relationships are fine, but this seems calculated. I heard she was a mediocre student who barely graduated. How did she build a business? Lee should stick with Korean women who understand his culture. This is what happens when CEOs think with the wrong head. Sang-woo, Ji-hoon said flatly. You don't know that. I do. He's the only one who would benefit from undermining both you and me simultaneously. He thinks you're a liability to the Rotterdam deal and an embarrassment to the family. Maybe I am. Carmen, maybe we should pause. Do the installation professionally, then I go back to New York. We figure out the personal stuff later, when there's less at stake. Ji-hoon set down the phone carefully. No. Be logical. I spent 30 years being logical. It got me wealth and loneliness. I'm done optimizing my life for other people's comfort. What about mine? My comfort? He stopped, genuinely surprised. What? I'm exhausted, Ji-hoon. Every day is a battle to prove I deserve to exist in your world. The press, your board, anonymous sources, strangers on the internet. Everyone has an opinion about whether I'm good enough, young enough, Korean enough, successful enough, and I'm tired of fighting. Then let me fight for you. That's not how partnership works. Then tell me what does work. Carmen walked to the window. Below, Seoul stretched in every direction, a city of 10 million people, and she felt utterly alone despite Ji-hoon's presence 3 feet away. I need you to trust me, she said quietly. Not protect me, not fight my battles. Trust that I can handle this my own way. I do trust you. Then let me respond on my terms. How? She turned to face him. By making the installation so extraordinary that the work speaks louder than the rumors. By being so undeniably good at what I do that credentials become irrelevant. And us? We continue. Carefully. Privately. After the installation launches and the work is evaluated independently, we can be public. But right now, I need my art to stand alone. Ji-hoon crossed to her, taking her hands. Okay, We do it your way. But Carmen, yes? Don't let them make you small. Don't shrink to fit their limited imagination. Promise me. She nodded, throat tight. I promise. He pulled her into an embrace that felt like shelter, like the kind of protection that empowers rather than diminishes. They stood there as the soul morning built momentum outside, two people learning to trust each other with vulnerability. Later, after Jihoon left for an emergency board meeting, Carmen called her daughter. Mom, I saw the article. It's bullshit. Language, Simone. I'm 23. I'm allowed to say bullshit about garbage journalism. What are you going to do? I'm going to build the best installation of my career. And then I'm going to decide if loving someone is worth this kind of scrutiny. Is it? Carmen thought about Jihoon at 24, writing letters that never arrived. About Jihoon at 54, keeping a vial sealed for 3 decades. About the man who had looked at her in the rain and said, "You test whether it still works." I think it might be, she admitted. Then fight for it. You taught me that. Don't let anyone tell you what you're allowed to want. After the call, Carmen opened her field notebooks and began sketching seriously. The installation would have 4 zones now, not 3. Departure. Morning sense, coffee, diesel, hope. Voyage. Salt, ozone, distance, endurance. Arrival. Spices, flowers, reunion, relief. What remains? The hidden room, Terminal 4 reformulated, memory transformed. She worked for 8 hours straight, mapping atomizer placement, calculating airflow, designing the lighting sequences that would guide visitors through the emotional architecture of scent. Maya arrived at 3 p.m. as promised, took one look at Carmen surrounded by notebooks and sample vials, and ordered food. Eat first, genius later. I need to finish. You need protein and sleep. In that order. Then you can revolutionize olfactory installation design. They ate Korean fried chicken on the hotel room floor, and Carmen told her everything. The letters, the article, Jihoon's willingness to fight, her decision to prove herself through work. You're doing the right thing, Maya said. Let the art speak. That's always been your superpower. What if it's not good enough? Then it's not. But it will be. Because you're brilliant, and you're angry, and angry artists make the best work. Carmen smiled despite her exhaustion. When did you get so wise? I've always been this wise. You just usually ignore me. They worked together through the evening, Maya handling logistics while Carmen finalized the installation design. By midnight, they had a plan. By 2 a.m., they had contracted suppliers. By 4 a.m., Carmen finally slept, dreaming of scent made visible, of air that told stories, of love that survived everything except time itself. That evening, against Moran's advice and common sense, Jihoon showed up at Carmen's hotel with the original Terminal 4 vial. We opened it once, he said, in my office, but we didn't finish the conversation. Carmen let him in. Maya had gone to her own room an hour earlier, leaving Carmen alone with sample vials and uncertainty. What conversation? Carmen asked. The one about what this actually is. He set the vial on the table between them. 30 years. 4 letters I sent. 4 you never received. A formula we made together that neither of us could recreate alone. Carmen, do you believe in fate? I believe in chemistry. Cause and effect. Then explain this. You recreate Terminal 4 by accident. 5 days later, you receive an invitation with my name on it. We open the vial together, and it's transformed. Better than the original. How is that not the universe insisting? Carmen picked up the vial. The liquid inside had darkened slightly. Oxidation making the bergamot richer, the cedar deeper. Or it's coincidence. Moran researched perfumers, found my name, connected the dots. You kept the vial because you're sentimental. I recreated it because muscle memory is powerful. It doesn't have to mean destiny. Do you believe that? I'm trying to. Why? Because destiny means I've wasted 30 years. It means I married the wrong person, built a life in the wrong city, became someone I'm not supposed to be. And I can't accept that my daughter, my work, My entire existence has been a detour. Jihoon's voice was gentle. What if it wasn't a detour? What if it was preparation? You needed to become who you are now to meet me as I am now. We were children then, passionate, desperate, certain we knew everything. We're architects now. We know how to build things that last. Carmen set down the vial. Thomas was a good husband. I loved him. Past tense. We grew apart. It happens. Why? She looked at him directly. Because he wasn't you. And that wasn't fair to him, to me, or to Simone. She deserved parents who chose each other every day, not a mother who was settling. The admission hung between them like the scent from the vial. Impossible to take back, changing the composition of the air itself. I tried, Carmen whispered. For 18 years, I tried to love him the way I loved you. And he knew. He never said it directly, but he knew. That's why the divorce was mutual. We were both relieved. Does Simone know about me? Really know? She knows there was someone before her father. Someone I didn't talk about. Someone who left a hole I tried to fill with other things. When she saw the photo of us at the port, she texted, "So that's him, the one you dream about." You dream about me? Apparently, I talk in my sleep. Thomas mentioned it a few times. Said I called out your name sometimes, usually around October. Jihoon stepped closer. What happens in October? Your birthday. October 17th. I never forgot. His eyes widened. You remembered. I remembered everything. The way you organized your lab notes by color. How you drank coffee with too much sugar. The scar on your eyebrow from a childhood accident. The way you said my name, with that slight pause before the men, like you were savoring it. Carmen, she continued, words coming faster now, decades of silence breaking. I remembered that you wanted to work in marine biology before your father insisted on business. That your favorite food was your mother's jjigae, but you'd never tell her because she already had too much power over you. That you were terrified of disappointing your family, but more terrified of becoming someone you didn't recognize. Stop. Why? Because if you keep going, I'm going to kiss you. And we agreed to keep things professional until after the installation. We did agree to that. It was a sensible decision. Very mature. They stared at each other. Screw sensible, Carmen said. She kissed him then. Not the desperate kiss of 22-year-olds in a chemistry lab. Not the reunion kiss in the rain. But something new. The deliberate kiss of adults who understood that some chances don't come twice. That time is precious and finite. That vulnerability is the only real courage. His hands found her waist, pulling her closer. Her fingers threaded through his hair, grayer now, softer, real. This wasn't memory. This was present tense, actual, undeniable. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Carmen's careful emotional architecture lay in ruins around them. I never stopped, she admitted. 30 years, marriage, divorce, building a business, raising a daughter. I never stopped loving you. Neither did I. I dated. I tried. But none of them were you. And it seemed cruel to marry someone while wishing they were someone else. They moved to the couch, Carmen curling into his side, his arm around her shoulders. Outside, Sol glittered, indifferent to human drama. This is terrifying, she said. I know. We could fail spectacularly. Messy divorce-level failure. We could, or we could build something extraordinary. You're unreasonably optimistic. I'm reasonably hopeful. There's a difference. Carmen tilted her head to look up at him. What do you see? When you imagine us 5 years from now? Jihoon considered seriously. I see you in Brooklyn sometimes, Seoul sometimes. I see me learning to delegate so I can travel more. I see Sunday mornings drinking coffee and arguing about politics. I see meeting Simone, being nervous, probably making a fool of myself. I see you teaching me about scent. Me teaching you about shipping routes. I see ordinary things made extraordinary because we're finally doing them together. That's very specific. I've had 30 years to imagine it. What if the reality doesn't match? Then we adjust. That's what adults do. We don't expect perfection. We negotiate towards sustainable happiness. Carmen laughed. That's the least romantic description of love I've ever heard. Romance is easy. Partnership is hard. I want the hard thing. They sat in comfortable silence, the city lights creating patterns on the walls, two people finally brave enough to trust each other with truth. The installation launches in 3 days, Carmen said eventually. After the reviews come in, after the public judges the work, we can be openly together. But until then, we're professional colleagues who happen to have a complicated history. Exactly. Can I stay tonight? Just to sleep? I promise to be gone before Maya murders me. Carmen smiled. You can stay. They fell asleep on the couch like teenagers, awkward limbs and imperfect positioning, but together. The vial of Terminal 4 sat on the table, its contents exposed to air, transforming molecule by molecule into something new, something better than what it had been. Proof that some things improve with time if you're brave enough to open them. Morning arrived with clarity. Carmen woke first, disoriented by unfamiliar warmth. Ji-hoon still asleep beside her on the couch, his arm draped across her waist. Gray morning light filtered through the hotel windows. Seoul was waking up, traffic sounds building like a crescendo. She studied his face, allowing herself this private moment. The lines around his eyes were deeper than she remembered. The gray in his hair caught the light like silver thread. He looked his age, 54, not 24, and she found she preferred it. This version of him came with history, with earned wisdom, with scars that proved survival. His eyes opened slowly, caught her watching. Morning, he said, voice rough with sleep. Morning. Coffee? Always. They moved carefully around each other in the small hotel kitchenette, brewing coffee with the efficiency of people learning each other's rhythms. Carmen took hers black. Ji-hoon added cream. No sugar. Apparently his taste had matured over 30 years. They sat across from each other at the small table, the morning creating a pocket of intimacy, separate from the public world waiting outside. Ground rules, Carmen said, pulling a notebook toward her. The same notebook that contained her installation sketches, now repurposed for relationship logistics. First, the installation is mine. Full creative control. You're the client, not the collaborator. Agreed. Second, we tell no one about this until after the launch. Not Maya, not Moran, not your brother. The work has to stand independently. Moran already knows, Ji-hoon pointed out. Then we swear her to absolute silence. This can't look like a vanity project for your girlfriend. It has to be evaluated on merit alone. Ji-hoon nodded, taking a slow sip of coffee. Third rule, we're honest. About fears, doubts, all of it. No more 30-year disappearances. Fourth, I meet your mother, properly. Not at some formal event where she can pretend I don't exist or evaluate me like a business acquisition. He winced. She's traditional and formidable. I'm 52 years old, Black, American, divorced with a child and running my own business. I know exactly what traditional means in this context. We do it anyway. Agreed. Fifth rule, you let me visit Brooklyn, meet Maya properly, see your studio, your world, where you actually live instead of hotel rooms. Deal. Sixth, Carmen paused, choosing words carefully. We're allowed to fail. If this doesn't work, if the distance is too much or the cultural difference is too complicated, or we're just too different now, we're allowed to acknowledge that without guilt. Ji-hoon's expression shifted, something vulnerable crossing his face. I don't want to plan for failure. I'm not planning for it. I'm making space for it. There's a difference. We're not 22 anymore. We can't run on passion alone. We need structure. Structure, he repeated, half amused. You want to architect our relationship? I'm a perfumer and you're a logistics CEO. Structure is what we both understand. He reached across the table, taking her hand. Okay, structure. But also this. He squeezed her fingers. The unplannable parts. The moments that don't fit in notebooks. Those too, she agreed softly. They shook hands formally, then laughed at the absurdity of it, negotiating love like a business merger, drawing boundaries like blueprints. "We're so old," Carmen said. "We're so smart," Jihoon corrected. "Young love is brave but stupid. Old love is terrified but wise." A knock interrupted. Maya's distinctive 3-rap pattern. "That's my cue to leave," Jihoon said, standing quickly. "Fire escape or front door?" "I'm 54 and a CEO. I'll use the front door and face Maya's judgment like an adult." Carmen opened the door. Maya stood there holding 2 coffees and a bag of pastries, taking in Jihoon's presence with one comprehensive glance. "Good morning," Maya said sweetly. "I'm Maya Torres, Carmen's business partner and emotional bodyguard. You must be the billionaire who broke her heart 30 years ago." "Maya," Carmen warned. "It's fine," Jihoon said, stepping forward with his hand extended. "Lee Jihoon. And yes, I am. I'd apologize, but I suspect you want more than words." Maya studied him for a long moment, then shook his hand firmly. "I want you to be worth the risk she's taking. Can you promise that?" "No, but I can promise to try every day." "Good answer." Maya handed Carmen one of the coffees. "You have a meeting with the installation crew in 90 minutes. Shower, eat, then we go make art that silences critics." After Jihoon left, Maya rounded on Carmen. "You slept with him." "We slept on the couch." "Literally slept, nothing else." "Even worse. That's relationship-level behavior." "I know." "Are you sure about this? The timing is terrible. Installation in 3 days, press watching your every move, his board questioning his judgment." Carmen sat on the bed, suddenly exhausted despite the coffee. "No, I'm not sure, but I'm doing it anyway." Maya's expression softened. "Okay then. Let's make your installation so extraordinary that nobody can question why he chose you." They spent the morning finalizing details. The warehouse space in Busan had been transformed according to Carmen's specifications. Walls painted in gradients from dark to light, atomizers installed at precisely calculated intervals, lighting rigged to shift through the emotional spectrum of the olfactory journey. The installation would open in 3 zones plus 1 hidden space. Zone 1, departure. The scent of morning at a port. Coffee, Arabica, slightly burnt. Diesel exhaust, synthetic, carefully dosed. Hemp rope, tar, salt, metal, cold iron, human hope, impossible to synthesize, but Carmen tried anyway with a bright citrus accord. Zone 2, voyage. The scent of distance. Salt water, North Atlantic profile. Ozone, pre-storm electricity. Old wood, teak, weathered. Whale song. Yes, Carmen found a way to scent-interpret sound using ambergris and deep bass vibrato. Loneliness, blue iris, cold and beautiful. Zone 3, arrival. The scent of reunion. Spices from cargo holds. Cardamom, clove, black pepper. Tropical flowers. Jasmine sambac, ylang ylang. Human skin, musk, vanilla, warmth, relief, lavender, the only moment of softness in the entire installation. Joy, aldehydes, champagne bubbles translated to scent. Zone 4, what remains. The hidden room, accessible only through a doorway disguised to look like part of the wall. Inside, Terminal 4 reformulated. Bergamot aged 30 years in memory. Darjeeling turned to wisdom. Rain that smelled like both goodbye and hello. Cedar warmed into home. The label would read, "Memory is not preservation, it is transformation." This scent was made twice, 30 years apart, by the same hands. It is different. It is better. It is proof that some things improve when opened. By evening, the installation was ready. Carmen walked through it alone, testing the scent progression, adjusting atomizer output by microlighters, obsessing over details no one else would notice, but that would make the difference between good and transcendent. Jihoon texted at 8 p.m. "How's it going?" "Almost there. You?" Board meeting was brutal. Sang-woo is actively undermining, but the Rotterdam partners are still committed. "That's good. Can I see you tonight? Or do you need to focus?" Carmen hesitated, fingers hovering over her phone. She needed to focus. The installation was the most important work of her career, but she also needed this. Him, the impossible thing that had finally become possible. Come to the warehouse at 10. I want to show you before the public sees it. I'll be there. He arrived exactly at 10, still in a suit from the board meeting, tie loosened, exhaustion evident in the set of his shoulders. Carmen met him at the entrance, barefoot, covered in dust and perfume oils, utterly in her element. Ready? She asked. For what? To experience 30 years of grief, hope, and transformation in 20 minutes. She led him through the installation in darkness, only emergency lighting showing the path. At each zone, she activated the scent and sound systems, watching his face as the olfactory narrative unfolded. Zone 1 hit him first. The bright brutality of mourning, of departure, of saying goodbye to something precious. His eyes closed. His jaw tightened. Zone 2 pulled him into vastness, salt and distance and the particular loneliness of being at sea, metaphorically and actually. His breathing slowed. His hand found the wall for balance. Zone 3 offered relief. Arrival, reunion. The overwhelming gratitude of finding what was lost. His shoulders dropped. Something in his face softened. Then Carmen led him to the hidden room. The doorway was camouflaged perfectly. If you didn't know to look, you'd never find it. She pushed, and it opened. Inside, darkness, then a single spotlight on a pedestal. The reformulated Terminal 4 diffusing into air that had been carefully temperature and humidity controlled to optimize olfactory impact. Ji-hoon stepped inside, breathed. His eyes filled immediately. It's us, he whispered, but better. That's the point. Time doesn't destroy everything. Sometimes it refines. He turned to her, tears on his face. This powerful man who ran empires reduced to raw emotion by scent and memory, and 30 years of waiting. It's perfect, Carmen. The whole thing is perfect. It's not perfect. The transition between zones 2 and 3 is slightly abrupt. The hidden room is too obvious if you know what to look for. The scent profile in departure is maybe 10% too aggressive. It's perfect, he repeated firmly. Stop seeing the flaws. See what you built. She looked around the hidden room. Her life's work distilled into this space. Every heartbreak and hope translated into molecules. Proof that love could survive time if you were brave enough to open it. Okay, she said quietly. It's perfect. He kissed her then, in the hidden room that smelled like their past transformed into present. And for the first time in 30 years, Carmen felt like she'd finally come home. The morning of the installation preview, Carmen woke to 17 missed calls. Maya was already up, laptop open, face grim. We have a problem. Carmen's stomach dropped. What kind of problem? The kind where someone leaked your preliminary sketches to a gossip blog with the headline, CEO's girlfriend designs vanity project on company dime. Carmen grabbed the laptop. The article was vicious. It included her actual installation sketches, stolen from somewhere, though she couldn't imagine how. Financial speculation about how much C-Link had paid, rumored to be triple the market rate, and anonymous quotes from industry insiders, calling the project artistically ambitious but ethically questionable. Who would... Carmen stopped. Sang-woo. Has to be. He has access to building security, company files, everything. He wants you gone, and this is his nuclear option. Carmen's phone rang. Ji-hoon, voice tight with controlled fury. I'm handling this. There's nothing to handle. The sketches are public. The speculation is out there. I'm calling our lawyers. This is defamation, theft of intellectual property, corporate sabotage. Stop. Carmen's voice was steel. Fighting makes it bigger. Lawsuits validate the story. We stay silent and let the work speak. Carmen, they're destroying your reputation. They're trying to. There's a difference. The installation opens tonight. Critics will judge it on merit. The public will experience it without prejudice. And then we'll know if the work is strong enough to survive the scandal. And if it's not, then I was never good enough to begin with. and we both need to accept that. Silence on the line. Then, quietly, "You're braver than I am. I'm terrified, but I'm doing it anyway." Maya was already on her phone, calling contacts, managing the crisis with the efficient brutality she brought to all business matters. Within an hour, she had statements prepared, lawyers on standby, and a social media strategy that walked the line between defense and dignity. The installation preview was scheduled for 6 p.m. Critics, board members, select press, and VIPs. The public opening would follow the next day. Everything hinged on the next 12 hours. Carmen spent the day doing final adjustments with obsessive precision. Every atomizer was tested 3 times. Every light cue was confirmed. The temperature and humidity were monitored continuously. She was creating optimal conditions for olfactory impact, but also building armor out of perfection. At 4 p.m., Miran arrived at the warehouse, unannounced. "Ms. Whitaker, may I speak with you privately?" They walked to a quiet corner. Miran's expression was unreadable. "I know the leak came from inside C-Link," Miran said without preamble. "I'm working to identify exactly who, but I have strong suspicions." Sang-woo. "Almost certainly, but I can't prove it yet, and accusations without evidence will only make things worse." "I know. I'm not asking for proof. I'm asking for honesty. Is Ji-hoon's position at the company in jeopardy because of me?" Miran considered carefully. "His position is secure. His father built the company, and Ji-hoon has grown it exponentially. The board can pressure, but they can't remove him without destroying shareholder value. However, there is talk of requiring him to step back from day-to-day operations if he continues to make personal decisions that affect corporate reputation. They're building a case for a management restructuring that would leave him as chairman but remove executive authority." Carmen's chest tightened. "They're trying to neutralize him." "Yes. And if you fail tonight, they'll use it as evidence that his judgment is compromised. So everything depends on the next few hours." "Everything," Miran confirmed. "But Ms. Whitaker, Carmen, I've seen your work. I've experienced the installation and testing. It's extraordinary. Trust that." "What if extraordinary isn't enough? Then we were wrong about everything, and the world is a darker place than I thought. But I don't believe that." At 5:30 p.m., Carmen changed into her opening night outfit. A simple black dress, elegant but not trying too hard, her natural hair in a low bun, minimal jewelry. She looked like herself, serious, professional, black, beautiful, refusing to apologize for any of it. Maya found her backstage. "You ready?" "No." "Good. That means it matters." The doors opened at 6 p.m. sharp. The guests entered slowly, uncertain what to expect. Carmen watched from the shadows as the first group experienced Zone 1, departure. A critic from Art Forum inhaled, closed her eyes, made notes. A Korean journalist stood motionless, breathing deeply. A board member, older man, disapproving expression upon entry, suddenly looked moved. They moved through the zones in silence, the way people do when experiencing something that demands their full attention. Zone 2 pulled them into vastness. Zone 3 offered relief. Some people cried. Most looked transformed. Then the hidden room. Only about 30% of visitors found it, exactly as Carmen had intended. Those who did stayed for long minutes, breathing the reformulated Terminal 4, reading the label, understanding the meta-narrative of time and transformation. Ji-hoon arrived late, trapped in a board meeting that had run long deliberately, Sang-woo's final attempt at sabotage. He entered during the preview's final 30 minutes, moving through the zones quickly to catch up. Carmen watched him find the hidden room, watched his face shift as he recognized the scent, watched him understand that she had taken their most private moment and transformed it into universal art. When he emerged, their eyes met across the warehouse. He mouthed, "It's perfect." She shook her head. "It's honest." That was better than perfect. The Korea Times arts critic Ji-yoon Park published her review at midnight, strategically timed for maximum morning readership. It was the opinion that mattered. Neutral, respected, immune to corporate influence or social media pressure. Root of first sense, when commerce meets confession. Carmen Whitaker's installation is not perfect. The transition between departure and voyage is slightly jarring. The sound design occasionally overwhelms the olfactory elements. The hidden room's entrance, while thematically appropriate, is perhaps too obscure for casual visitors. But these are minor quibbles about a work that achieves something genuinely rare. It transforms the personal into the universal without losing specificity. This is not a billionaire's vanity project. It is a meditation on memory, transformation, and the courage required to open what we've kept sealed. The controversy surrounding Ms. Whitaker and CEO Lee Ji-hoon is irrelevant to the work's merit. If anything, it validates the installation's thesis that some things improve when exposed to air, when allowed to change, when given permission to be imperfect and real. Zone 3, Arrival, features a scent profile that literally made this critic cry. The use of aldehydes to represent joy is masterful. The Hidden Room's reformulated Terminal 4 is both deeply personal and achingly universal. Anyone who has ever loved someone, lost them, and wondered what if will find themselves in that small, dark space. This is mature art from a mature artist. It deserves to be seen without scandal, though scandal will inevitably follow. Such is the price of honesty in a world that prefers performance. 4 stars out of 5. Carmen read it 3 times in her hotel room at 1 a.m., then called Ji-hoon. We got our vindication. Does it feel good? It feels like permission to breathe. Other reviews followed throughout the morning, some more enthusiastic, some more critical, but the consensus was clear. The installation succeeded on artistic merit. The scandal became background noise. By afternoon, the scandal became background noise. By afternoon, the public opening had a line around the block. By evening, social media was flooded with genuine responses. Not gossip, but actual engagement with the art. I've never cried in an art installation before. Zone 3 destroyed me. The Hidden Room is worth the search. Trust me. As someone who lost my partner 20 years ago, this felt like permission to remember without grief. I'm Korean, and my husband is Nigerian. This installation about love across distance, culture, time, hit differently. The scent of Arrival smells exactly like my grandmother's house. How did she know? Maya found Carmen watching the social media feeds, tears streaming down her face. You did it, Maya said simply. We did it. You handled the crisis. Moran provided intel. Ji-hoon provided the platform. But you made the art. That was all you. That evening, Carmen and Ji-hoon had dinner, not at a hidden restaurant, but at a rooftop place in Gangnam, windows open to the city, visible to anyone with a camera phone. They were photographed. They didn't care. The board called an emergency meeting, Ji-hoon said over bibimbap. They wanted to discuss next steps regarding my leadership. Carmen's stomach dropped. And I told them that if they forced me to choose between the woman I love and a company, I would choose the woman, every time, without hesitation. Ji-hoon, you can't. I can. I did. And you know what happened? They fired you? My mother stood up. She's not on the board officially, but everyone respects her. She said, my husband built this company to support our family, not replace it. If you make my son choose between love and legacy, you misunderstand what legacy means. And then she walked out. 3 board members followed her. Carmen stared. Your mother defended us? She defended love. She said she'd watched me be alone for 30 years and it was unnatural and depressing. Apparently I've been moping and she's sick of it. That's the least romantic defense of love I've ever heard. My mother is Korean, 78, and terrifying. Romance is not her language, but action is. She acted. They ate in comfortable silence, the city noise providing soundtrack. Carmen felt something shift, not into place exactly, but into possibility. This might actually work. Against odds, against gossip, against geography, this might actually work. Her phone buzzed. A message from Simone. Mom, I saw the reviews. I'm so proud of you. Also, when do I meet him? I need to evaluate if he's good enough for you. Carmen showed Jihoon the message. He paled slightly. She wants to meet me. Terrified? Absolutely. When? Thanksgiving. She'll be home from Yale. You can fly to New York. We'll have dinner. You, me, Simone, probably Thomas because we co-parent well. Maybe Maya because she won't want to miss this. That's a lot of people evaluating me. Welcome to dating a woman with a real life. It comes with complications. I'll take the complications, Jihoon said. All of them. 2 weeks after the installation launch, Carmen returned to Brooklyn. Not fleeing, returning. There was a difference that mattered. Simone met her at JFK, and they stood in Terminal 4, the exact spot where Jihoon had boarded a plane 30 years earlier, where their story had paused for 3 decades. This is surreal, Simone said, looking around the renovated terminal. You're standing where your whole love story started and ended, and is now starting again. Circles, not lines, Carmen agreed. So what now? Long distance? You move to Seoul? He moves here? You buy a private jet and pretend geography doesn't exist? We figure it out month by month. He's opening a C-Link office in New York. Says it makes business sense, but really it's for me. I'm opening a satellite studio in Seoul. Say it makes business sense, but really it's for him. We'll split time. That's terrifyingly adult and practical. Carmen hugged her daughter. I'm 52. It's about time. Back at the Brooklyn studio, Maya had champagne waiting along with a folder of new contract offers. You're officially in demand. Singapore wants an installation. Dubai is interested. A gallery in Paris wants to commission original fragrances. Your prices just tripled. Because of the art or the scandal? Does it matter? You're getting paid either way. Though I suspect it's the art. The critics were unanimous. You're the real deal. They drank champagne and reviewed contracts, but Carmen's mind was already moving forward. She opened her formulation journal to a blank page and wrote, Return, not arrival. A fragrance in progress. This would be her next project. A perfume that captured what she'd learned. That coming home isn't about arriving somewhere new. It's about returning to something essential you'd lost along the way. Base notes. White cedar, but warmed with vanilla, grounded with vetiver. The smell of home, mature and complex. Middle notes. Bergamot, but aged, honeyed, softened by time. The smell of memory refined rather than faded. Top notes. Rain on warm skin, not cold pavement. Rain that means reunion, not goodbye. The smell of tears that are relief rather than grief. It would take months to perfect. Jihoon was flying to New York in 2 weeks. They would test it together, adjusting the formula based on how it smelled on both their skins, creating something that belonged to both of them. Carmen worked through the evening, testing combinations, making notes, occasionally stopping to look out the window at the harbor where container ships moved patient and huge, carrying cargo across impossible distances. Her phone rang. Jihoon, calling from Seoul where it was already morning. I'm looking at shipping routes, he said without preamble. New York to Seoul is 16 hours direct. I can do that twice a month without dying. You? I can do twice a month. Maybe 3 times if the coffee is strong enough. We're really doing this. We're really doing this. Against all logic and geography and common sense, we're doing this. I love you, Jihoon said. I should have said it earlier, but I'm saying it now. I love you. Present tense, active voice, no conditions. Carmen's throat tightened. I love you too. Same terms. No conditions. After the call, she sat in the studio that had been her refuge for 15 years, holding a vial of incomplete formula, and felt something she hadn't felt in 3 decades. Certainty. Not about outcomes. Those were still uncertain, but about choice. She was choosing this. Consciously, deliberately, with full awareness of cost and complication. That was better than certainty. That was agency. Thanksgiving arrived with unseasonable warmth and Carmen's intense nervousness. Jihoon flew in 2 days early, jet-lagged and anxious, checking into a hotel in Manhattan, but spending most of his time at Carmen's Brooklyn apartment. She's 23, Carmen reminded him. She's smart, skeptical and protective. Don't try to impress her, just be honest. What if she hates me? Then we deal with it, but she won't hate you. She might test you, though. Simone arrived Thanksgiving morning with her boyfriend Marcus, a surprise addition that Carmen suspected was deliberate, giving Simone backup and making the dinner less about scrutinizing Jihoon. Thomas arrived next, bringing wine and his new wife Patricia, both of them warm and curious. Maya came with her girlfriend Nina, ready to provide commentary. It was a full table, 8 people navigating complex relationship dynamics over turkey and stuffing. Jihoon handled it remarkably well. He complimented Thomas on his medieval literature work. Carmen had briefed him. He asked Simone intelligent questions about her architecture studies without being patronizing. He won Marcus over by discussing soccer. He charmed Patricia by remembering she taught art history and asking genuine questions about her research. But Simone waited until dessert to strike. So, Mr. Lee? Jihoon, please. Jihoon. My mom spent 30 years thinking you abandoned her. You broke her heart so badly she married someone else to try to forget you. No offense, Dad. None taken, Thomas said calmly. It's true. Why should we trust that you won't do it again? The table went silent. Carmen's hand tightened around her fork. Jihoon met Simone's eyes directly. You shouldn't trust me. Trust takes time to build, and I haven't earned it yet. All I can offer is my intention, which is to show up, consistently, for as long as your mother will let me. I can't promise I won't make mistakes. I can promise I won't disappear without fighting first. That's a lawyer answer. It's an honest answer. I'm 54. I've learned that promises are only as good as the person making them, and I'm still proving who I am to your mother, and to you. Simone studied him for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, she smiled. Okay, that's fair. But if you hurt her again, I know people. Architecture students have access to power tools and questionable morals. Noted and respected. The dinner continued with less tension. By the time pie was served, people were laughing. Thomas and Jihoon discovered a shared interest in classical music. Maya and Jihoon bonded over the logistics of international business. Simone warmed up enough to show him photos of her architecture projects. Later, after everyone had left, Carmen and Jihoon stood on her apartment balcony overlooking the East River. That went better than expected, Carmen said. Your daughter threatened me with power tools. She likes you. If she didn't, she would have been polite and distant. Threats mean you passed. Your family is chaos. I know. Does it scare you? No, Jihoon said, pulling her close. It makes me envious. I've spent 30 years in controlled environments. This is messy and loud and real. You can still run. No one would blame you. I'm not running. I spent 30 years running. I'm staying now. They stood in the cold November air, watching the city light up. 2 people who had taken 3 decades to find their way back to each other, finally understanding that some journeys are measured not in distance, but in courage. 6 months later, the perfume was ready. Carmen and Jihoon sat in her Brooklyn studio on a May evening, windows open to the smell of early summer and river water. Cargo ships moved past in the distance, a sight that now felt like home to both of them. She handed him the final vial. Simple label, elegant typography. Return, not arrival. By C. Whitaker and L. Jihoon. Our names together, he said. It took both of us. Seemed accurate. He opened it carefully. The scent rose, familiar but entirely new. Cedar and bergamot and rain, but transformed into something that smelled less like memory and more like present tense. Like Sunday mornings and shared coffee. Like belonging. It's perfect, he whispered. It's honest. Same thing. They sat in comfortable silence, breathing it in, letting the scent tell the story their voices couldn't quite capture. About time and transformation, about how some things don't die. They just wait for the right conditions to bloom again. I'm thinking, Jihoon said slowly, of making the New York office permanent, spending 8 months here, 4 in Seoul. The board has accepted it, grudgingly, but accepted. Carmen looked at him. That's a massive operational change. I'm aware, Your mother will have opinions. She already does. She said, and I quote, "About time you chose happiness over duty. Your father would approve." She said that? In Korean, which somehow makes it more profound. But yes. What about Sang-woo? He's taken over day-to-day operations in Seoul. Turns out he's actually brilliant when he's not competing with me. This arrangement works better for everyone. Carmen set down the vial carefully. I'm opening the Seoul studio permanently too. Maya will run Brooklyn most of the time. I'll split 50-50. 6 months here, 6 months there. That's terrifying. Completely. But I think we need to be terrified together in the same location. Ji-hoon laughed, the sound warm and unguarded. Pragmatic as always. Someone has to be. You're unreasonably optimistic. And you're unreasonably careful. We balance. A knock interrupted. Simone's pattern followed by her voice. Mom, I'm coming in. If you're doing anything gross, you have 5 seconds to stop. She entered carrying takeout bags, Marcus behind her with beer. We brought dinner. Hope you don't mind. We were just testing the final formula, Carmen said. Simone crossed to the workbench, picked up the vial, inhaled. Her expression shifted. Surprise, then understanding. It smells like home, but not a place. More like a feeling. That's exactly right, Ji-hoon said quietly. They ate takeout on the studio floor. Carmen, Ji-hoon, Simone, Marcus, surrounded by sample vials and formulation notebooks, and the smell of return, not arrival, permeating the air. It felt like family, the chosen kind that you build rather than inherit. Later, after Simone and Marcus left, Carmen and Ji-hoon remained on the couch, exhausted and content. Do you regret it? Carmen asked the question that had been circling for months. The 30 years we lost? Ji-hoon was quiet for a long time, considering seriously. I regret the pain. I regret the miscommunication. I regret that you thought I abandoned you. But the time itself? He paused. I don't know if we would have survived as the people we were then. We were so young, so certain, so unfinished. And now? Now we're old and uncertain, and as finished as humans get, which makes us perfect for each other. Carmen smiled, despite the tears gathering. That's the least romantic thing you've ever said. Romance is easy. This is true. They fell asleep on the studio couch as the city darkened outside, the smell of cedar and bergamot and rain wrapping around them like a promise kept. Proof that some things don't fade with time. They just transform into something better than what they were, if you're brave enough to open them. Dindani. Epilogue. 1 year after the Busan installation launch, Root of First Sense had traveled to Singapore, Rotterdam, and finally New York. Installed in a converted warehouse in Red Hook, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbor where container ships moved like patient giants. Carmen and Ji-hoon attended each opening together, no longer hiding, no longer apologizing. The press coverage had shifted from scandal to fascination to, eventually, acceptance. They were no longer CEO and gold digger. They were partners building something rare and real. Simone graduated summa cum laude and took a position with a Seoul architecture firm. Figured I should learn the language, she told her mother. Family reasons. The Whitaker and Torres Maison expanded, opening the Seoul satellite studio with Moran as operations manager. A career pivot that surprised everyone except Maya, who had predicted it months earlier. Maya and Moran became unlikely friends, bonding over the shared experience of managing brilliant, stubborn people who fell in love inconveniently. Matriarch Lee hosted a formal dinner introducing Carmen to the extended family. It was exactly as awkward as expected, but the matriarch's approval, delivered through a gift of family heirloom jade, made it clear that Carmen had been accepted. And in both cities, Brooklyn and Seoul, Carmen kept a vial of return not arrival on her desk. Not sealed. Open. Breathing. Because some scents are meant to be shared. Some loves are meant to transform. And some stories take 30 years to tell correctly. Not because they're slow, but because they're worth the wait. The final installation piece, the hidden room containing Terminal 4 reformulated, was eventually acquired by the Museum of Modern Art. It sits in a small, dark gallery, accessible only to those who know to look for the unmarked doorway. People find it. They always do. They stand in the darkness, breathing the scent of time and transformation, reading the label that explains how the same formula made twice, 30 years apart, becomes something new. And they understand. This isn't just about perfume. It's about what happens when you're brave enough to open what you've kept sealed. When you choose transformation over preservation. When you risk everything for the possibility of being truly seen. Carmen and Jihoon visit the installation sometimes, standing anonymous among strangers who are experiencing their love story without knowing it. "Does it feel strange?" Carmen asked once, "having our most private moment on display?" "No," Jihoon said. "It feels right. We turned our pain into something beautiful. That's not exposure, that's alchemy." They left the museum hand in hand, walking into the New York evening, two people who had spent 30 years learning that the best journeys aren't about arriving somewhere new. They're about returning to something essential you'd lost along the way. Coming home, finally, together. If this story reminded you that it's never too late to open what you've kept sealed, that mature love is braver than young passion, subscribe for more tales of second chances, transformation, and the courage to return to what matters. Because the best journeys aren't about arriving,